Taran worked quietly in the dim glow of the mining station's engine room. The hum of machinery filled the space around him, a constant reminder that life in the outer reaches of the galaxy depended on systems that never slept. He wiped sweat from his brow, listening to the soft creak of metal panels, and adjusted a control console. The station orbited a small dying star, its light weak and flickering, barely reaching the station's reinforced windows. Out here, far from any major human colony, life was hard and lonely. He had come to this station seeking a purpose beyond the crowded homeworlds. His family had never understood his fascination with the stars, but Taran was determined to make a life among them, to feel the vastness of space and the freedom it offered. Still, the isolation weighed heavily on him, especially during long nights when only the stars kept him company. Suddenly, a blinking light on the communications panel caught his attention. A small distress signal was pulsing, irregular and faint. Curious, Taran adjusted the receiver, enhancing the signal. The message was garbled, but he could make out a few words. "Ship, malfunctioned, drifting, help." Taran's heart quickened. He had heard about derelict ships floating aimlessly in the void, their crews lost to the cold emptiness. But he also knew that out here, help did not come from anywhere easily. Without hesitation, he suited up and prepared a small shuttle, checking every system twice. This was dangerous, but he could not ignore the signal. The shuttle glided silently through space, leaving the faint hum of the station behind. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, some shining brightly, others barely visible. Taran's mind raced with possibilities. Who was in trouble? Was anyone alive? The loneliness he often felt now mixed with anticipation and a strange nervous excitement. After hours of careful navigation, he found the source of the signal. A derelict ship, battered and scarred by what looked like years of drifting through meteor fields. Its hull was dented, panels missing, and the lights flickered weakly. Taran's pulse quickened. The ship seemed almost alive, breathing slowly, but barely. As he docked, he noticed movement inside. A figure emerged, silhouetted by the dim emergency lights. Taran's breath caught as the person stepped forward. A young woman, strong yet cautious, moved with careful grace. Her uniform was worn, her face streaked with grime, but her eyes held a calm determination. She introduced herself as Alina, a pilot who had been stranded after a sudden system failure. "Are you here to help?" she asked, her voice steady but soft. "I am," Taran replied, trying to mask his nerves. "We need to fix this ship fast. The systems won't last long if we wait too long." Together they moved through the corridors, inspecting damage and identifying what needed urgent repair. Taran was impressed by her knowledge. She understood the ship's complex systems as if she had spent years working on them. Alina noticed his careful, methodical approach and the way he handled delicate machinery with patience. As they worked, small talk began to bridge the silence. Alina spoke of distant planets she had visited, research stations she had delivered cargo to, and the loneliness of space travel. Taran shared his own story, leaving homeworlds behind to work in remote stations. Though their experiences were different, they recognized the same longing in each other: the search for purpose, for meaning in the endless expanse of the galaxy. By the time they had stabilized the ship enough to prevent immediate danger, something unspoken had formed between them, a connection built not on words alone but on shared experience, mutual respect, and the fragile hope that even in the void of space, companionship was possible. As they prepared to rest in the ship's small quarters, Taran realized that meeting Alina had changed something in him. The emptiness of space suddenly felt less daunting, and the quiet loneliness that often pressed on him had softened. Here in the drifting silence, a spark had ignited, a spark that neither of them fully understood yet, but both felt keenly. Outside, the dying star cast its weak light across the hull of the ship. Space remained vast, cold, and indifferent, yet within the small ship warmth had begun to take hold. For Taran, the adventure had just begun, and the presence of Alina made him believe that even in the darkest corners of the universe, connection and hope could exist. Taran and Alina had managed to stabilize the derelict ship, but the relief was temporary. The vessel still floated in the endless void, its systems fragile, and the faint hum of failing engines reminded them how vulnerable they were. Outside, stars glimmered coldly, distant and indifferent, while inside, the two worked side by side, repairing circuits, tightening panels, and monitoring power levels. Some of these conduits are damaged beyond repair, Alina said, pointing to a section of wiring near the main reactor. Her voice was calm, but Terran could sense her concern. We might have to reroute the main power flow entirely. Terran nodded, examining the schematics on a portable display. I can do it, but it'll take time. We'll need to be careful. One wrong move and we could lose everything. As they worked, they found themselves talking more, filling the silence with stories that reminded them both of life beyond the void. Alina spoke of her childhood on a small moon colony, where the nights were long and the auroras danced across the skies. Taran shared memories of his first view of the stars from the observation deck of a station far from home, the awe and wonder that had inspired him to leave everything familiar behind. Their laughter echoed faintly through the metal corridors, a fragile sound in the immense emptiness of space. Each small joke, each shared memory brought warmth into the cold ship. Taran noticed how Alina's eyes softened when she smiled, how her presence seemed to make even the cramped, worn corridors feel less intimidating. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared and red lights flashed as the ship was rocked by an unexpected asteroid fragment. Taran grabbed a nearby handrail to steady himself, while Alina immediately went to stabilize the main console. That was close, she said, her voice steady but carrying a hint of tension. We need to monitor for more debris. This area is unstable. Taran worked quickly to adjust the ship's shields, rerouting energy from secondary systems to strengthen the hull. Together they coordinated every move, a rhythm forming between them. Their teamwork was seamless, almost instinctive, each anticipating the other's actions. When the immediate danger passed, they paused to catch their breath. Taran looked at Alina, noticing the way her hair framed her face, the quiet determination in her expression. He felt a strange pull, a mix of admiration and something warmer he could not name. You handled that well, he said softly. I couldn't have done it alone. Alina smiled, a hint of relief in her eyes. Neither could I. It's easier when you're not alone, isn't it? They fell into a comfortable silence, working side by side, but now with a quiet awareness of each other's presence. Each small movement, each gesture seemed to carry unspoken meaning. The vast emptiness outside made their shared space feel like a small haven, a temporary home where trust and companionship were slowly forming. As hours passed, they discovered a small storage room with supplies left by the previous crew. Among the spare tools and rations, they found a small observation deck, its view of the stars unobstructed. Taran suggested they take a short break, just to sit and watch the void. Sitting together, the stars stretched endlessly before them, a canvas of glittering light and darkness. Alina spoke quietly about the loneliness of drifting through space, of seeing planets pass by without ever stopping. Taran listened, sharing his own fears and uncertainties. You make it feel less lonely, Alina said after a while, her voice barely above a whisper, even when everything outside is cold and empty. Taran's heart warmed. I feel the same, he admitted. It's strange, but being here with you makes this place feel alive. The conversation faded into silence again, but it was a comfortable silence now, filled with understanding. They shared no words for a long while, simply observing the distant stars, the gentle hum of the ship, and the quiet connection forming between them. Though the void outside was vast and unforgiving, inside the ship a small spark of hope had begun. Taran and Alina realized that survival was more than fixing systems or avoiding dangers. It was about finding trust, companionship, and courage in each other. In the cold, indifferent expanse of space, that connection was a breath of warmth neither had expected, but both deeply needed. As the ship drifted silently through the star-filled darkness, they prepared for the long night ahead, knowing that the challenges of the void were far from over, but for the first time they did not face them alone. The ship floated quietly through the blackness, its engines humming softly as Taran and Alina worked side by side. Repairs were progressing, but the longer they spent together, the more they realized there was more to understand, not just about the ship, but about each other. As Taran adjusted a series of controls near the reactor, he noticed Alina examining the navigation logs with a distant expression. Curiosity got the better of him. You've been quiet for a while. Is there something you're not telling me? Alina hesitated, then sighed. It's just, there's more to why I was on that derelict ship than I first said. I was carrying sensitive research for an interstellar group. Something went wrong with their experiments, and I was caught in the aftermath. That's why the ship was abandoned. Taryn paused, absorbing her words. That sounds dangerous, he said gently. I can see why you didn't mention it at first. It is, Alina admitted. And I wasn't sure if I could trust anyone out here, but... Her gaze met his, and for a moment, the silence of space seemed to soften around them. But I'm glad you came when you did. I don't think I could have managed this alone. Taryn nodded. I know the feeling. I left my home world to work in remote stations, to escape the chaos of crowded colonies. I thought I wanted freedom, but sometimes the loneliness is heavier than I expected. They shared a quiet moment, each reflecting on their choices. The stars outside seemed infinite, yet here, in the narrow corridors of the ship, they found a sense of understanding in one another. Why did you leave your home? Alina asked softly, curiosity blending with genuine concern. Taryn smiled faintly. I wanted to see what else was out there, to find something bigger than myself. I thought I'd find adventure, maybe even purpose. I didn't expect to meet someone like you. Alina's cheeks warmed slightly, though she tried to hide it behind her focus on the logs. You mean me, right? Taryn nodded, meeting her gaze with a quiet intensity. Yes, you. Out here I feel less alone when you're around. Even in the emptiness of space, it feels like something matters. For a while they continued repairs in silence, but the air between them had shifted. Every touch, every glance seemed to carry weight. When Taryn passed her tools, their fingers brushed briefly, sending a small but undeniable spark through both of them. Later, Alina guided him to inspect the ship's communication array. We need to ensure it can transmit a proper signal, she explained. If we're ever in trouble again, someone needs to be able to find us. Working together on the array, their teamwork became almost instinctive. Each movement was precise, coordinated, as if they had been trained together. And though the work was technical, neither could ignore the subtle warmth of shared presence, the way their thoughts seemed to align without speaking. As they tightened the last bolts, Alina leaned back, stretching slightly. It's done, she said, smiling. Hopefully it will hold until we can get back to a safer station. Taryn returned her smile, feeling a rare sense of calm. You've done an incredible job. I don't think I could have managed without you. The small compliment hung in the air between them, carrying more meaning than either would admit. Silence returned, but it was a comfortable kind, filled with unspoken thoughts and growing trust. They had faced danger together, shared stories of their past, and now discovered that they could rely on one another in ways neither had expected. Later, in the observation deck, they watched the stars drift past. Alina spoke quietly about her fear of isolation, and Taryn shared his moments of doubt. With each revelation, the invisible barrier between them softened. What had begun as mutual respect and necessity was slowly transforming into something deeper, an unspoken bond. Fragile yet undeniable. You know, Alina said after a pause, even in the middle of nowhere, meeting someone who understands, it makes all of this worth it. Taryn looked at her, feeling the same truth. Yes, I've spent so long searching for purpose, for connection, and somehow I think I found it right here, with you. Outside, the void remained silent and endless, but inside the ship, the warmth of companionship and understanding had begun to shine. Taryn and Alina knew the challenges ahead would be many, yet they also realized that together, they could face the vast emptiness of space with courage and trust. And in that quiet moment, drifting among the stars, they discovered something neither had expected. In the infinite darkness, connection could be found and hearts could reach out and touch, even across the void. The derelict ship hummed quietly, but the calm was fragile. Taryn and Alina had made good progress, yet one small alarm suddenly pierced the silence. A warning light blinked red on the life support console. Oxygen levels were dropping faster than expected. Taryn rushed to the panel. Something's wrong with the filtration system, he said, his voice tense. If we don't fix it quickly, we could run out of air. Alina's eyes widened slightly, but she didn't panic. We can do this, she said. We just need to work together. Follow my instructions. They moved through the narrow corridors, hands busy, hearts racing. Every second mattered. Taryn and Alina carefully disconnected damaged conduits, rerouted oxygen flows, and replaced failing filters. The ship shuddered around them, reminding them how delicate their survival was. At one point, a sudden jolt knocked Taryn off balance. He grabbed a railing but slipped, narrowly avoiding a sharp edge. Alina reacted instantly, reaching out to steady him, Their hands touched, and for a heartbeat the chaos of the situation faded. Their eyes met, and a small, unspoken understanding passed between them. "Thanks," Terran said quietly, steadying himself. "Don't mention it," Alina replied softly, but her voice carried warmth. Working side by side, they moved with a precision that felt almost instinctive. Each adjusted the other's actions gently, passed tools without words, and silently encouraged one another. In the middle of the void, their trust was absolute. As they worked, small conversations flowed between them, breaking the tension. Terran spoke of how he loved the stars, not just for their beauty, but for the way they reminded him of the endless possibilities in life. Alina shared memories of her early days as a pilot, the thrill of navigating unknown systems, and the comfort of being able to rely on someone else for support. The oxygen levels stabilized, and the warning lights ceased their urgent blinking. Terran exhaled slowly, feeling a wave of relief. "We did it," he said. "It's holding steady." Alina smiled, leaning against the wall. "We make a good team," she said. "I never thought I'd feel this safe out here in the middle of nowhere." Terran nodded, feeling the same. "It's strange," he admitted. "I've faced danger before, but I've never felt so connected to someone while doing it." For a moment, the ship was silent except for the soft hum of functioning systems. They sat down side by side in the small observation area, watching the stars drift past the reinforced windows. Space was cold and indifferent, yet here, in their tiny bubble of light and warmth, they found a quiet sanctuary. Alina looked at Terran, her expression thoughtful. "I used to think survival was only about being strong or smart," she said. "But now I see. It's also about trust, and having someone who believes in you." Terran's heart swelled with understanding. "I feel the same way," he said. "Out here, trust isn't just a choice, it's everything." They shared a quiet moment, letting the weight of their words sink in. In the void of space where silence was endless and dangers invisible, they realized that the bond they had formed was more than friendship. It was the first spark of something deeper, a connection that made the cold emptiness feel less frightening. Later, they worked together to repair minor systems, but now their cooperation carried a subtle intimacy. Every glance, every touch, every small smile was charged with meaning. They didn't speak of it directly, but both understood that something was changing between them. As the ship drifted silently through the black, Terran and Alina leaned against the observation deck's railing, watching a distant nebula glow faintly against the darkness. The beauty of the stars seemed sharper now, more vivid because they were sharing it together. In that quiet moment, Terran realized that even in the void of space, love and connection could exist. It didn't need grandeur or spectacle, just trust, understanding, and the courage to be present for someone else. And Alina, sitting beside him, felt the same truth settle in her heart. The ship continued its slow drift through the galaxy, but inside, warmth had taken root. Danger could come again, but for now they had each other, and in the endless darkness of the void, that was enough to give hope. The ship moved cautiously through the outer asteroid belt, its repaired systems holding steady under the careful guidance of Terran and Alina. The relief of stabilizing the derelict ship was short-lived. As they reviewed navigation charts, Alina's expression grew serious. "Terran, we're not alone," she said quietly, pointing to a blip on the radar. "Something is tracking us. I think it's a ship, possibly after the research data I was carrying." Terran's heart skipped a beat. "Do you think they mean harm?" "Possibly," Alina admitted. "We need to stay alert and plan our moves carefully. If we're not careful, we could be trapped out here." The next hours were tense. Terran and Alina coordinated every maneuver with precision, weaving their ship through narrow asteroid fields. Each collision with drifting debris or sudden shift in trajectory could spell disaster. Yet they moved together as if guided by an invisible rhythm, each trusting the other implicitly. "You handled that last turn perfectly," Alina said, her voice filled with admiration as she monitored the engines. "I didn't expect us to get through without damage." Terran smiled faintly, his eyes still fixed on the display. "I didn't do it alone. You guided me." The danger kept them on edge, but it also brought a strange exhilaration. Each challenge reminded them of how capable and reliable the other was. Small moments of teamwork, handing tools, adjusting controls, passing data, became gestures of unspoken trust and growing closeness. As they approached a particularly dense cluster of asteroids, Alina's ship sensors detected another obstacle. "We have to split our attention," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "I'll navigate while you monitor the shields and engines. We can make it if we stay focused." Terran nodded, hands moving quickly over the control panels. The ship shuddered as they dodged larger rocks, but their careful planning worked. They emerged from the cluster without major damage, both exhaling with relief. "You know," Terran said, breaking the tension, "I never imagined space travel could feel like this. Terrifying and exciting at the same time." Alina laughed softly. "It does make the stars seem alive, doesn't it?" Their laughter lingered for a moment, breaking through the tension. Even in danger, they found brief moments to connect, reminding each other that courage was not just about facing threats, but also about holding on to hope. Hours later, as the pursuing ship grew closer, Alina devised a daring plan. "We can use the gravitational pull of that small moon," she explained, pointing to the navigation display. "If we swing around it at the right angle, we can escape their sensors and gain speed." "But it's risky." Terran studied the plan carefully. "I trust you," he said simply. "Let's do it together." The maneuver required perfect timing. The ship tilted and accelerated, skimming close to the moon's surface. Every second felt stretched, every adjustment critical. Terran adjusted the engines while Alina managed the trajectory, their hands sometimes brushing over the same controls. The near collisions and precise movements left their hearts pounding. When the ship finally cleared the moon's shadow, the pursuing vessel disappeared from their sensors. Both leaned back in their seats, breathing heavily but smiling with relief. "We did it," Alina said, the tension finally breaking into a soft laugh. Terran looked at her, feeling admiration and something warmer growing inside him. "We make a good team," he said quietly. Alina's eyes softened. "The best," she replied, though her tone carried more meaning than the words suggested. As the derelict ship drifted on a safe course again, they allowed themselves a moment to rest. The stars stretched endlessly outside, but for the first time the vast void didn't feel empty. Together they had faced danger and survived, relying not only on their skills but also on the trust and understanding that had grown between them. Later, in the small observation deck, Terran and Alina watched the stars quietly. Each movement, each glance carried a weight neither had acknowledged aloud. The danger had drawn them closer, and in the shared victory, they discovered that the bond between them was no longer just about survival. It was personal, subtle, and strong. "Even out here in the middle of nowhere," Alina said softly, "I'm glad we're not alone." Terran nodded, feeling a warmth he had not felt before. "Me too, somehow. Facing everything together makes the void feel smaller, safer." And so, drifting among the stars, they realized that their journey was about more than navigating through debris and threats. It was about courage, connection, and the quiet strength found in partnership. Even in the vast emptiness of space, the spark between them had grown brighter, promising that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The derelict ship glided silently through space, finally free from immediate danger. Terran and Alina had survived the pursuit, but their minds and bodies were exhausted. Alina scanned the nearby sector for a place to rest, and her eyes brightened as she detected a hidden colony, tucked behind a small asteroid cluster. "This might be our chance," she said quietly. "It's off the main routes, shielded from prying eyes. We can rest, repair the ship properly, and plan the next move." Terran nodded, relief evident in his features. "That sounds perfect. Let's get there." Navigating through the asteroid field, they arrived at the hidden colony. Its soft lights and protective shielding gave a sense of warmth, a stark contrast to the harsh emptiness they had been surrounded by. The small spaceport welcomed them, and the colony's inhabitants offered friendly nods and helpful advice. It was the first time both of them felt truly safe in weeks. Once docked, Terran and Alina stepped out into the colony's open corridors, taking in the sights. Gardens under artificial sunlight, small parks where children laughed, and quiet observation decks looking out into space. The tranquility was almost surreal after the chaos they had faced. Alina led Terran to a small guest quarters where they could rest. "We'll need to recover before we move again," she said. "This place, it feels like a haven." Terran smiled, appreciating the rare feeling of safety. "It does," he agreed. "I haven't felt this relaxed in a long time." After settling in, they explored the colony together. They wandered through the gardens, marveling at the artificial flora and the way light shimmered through the tiny atmosphere domes. For the first time in a long while, their conversations were calm, light, and filled with genuine laughter. They shared stories of childhood games, favorite foods from home, and small moments of human life that seemed distant in the cold void of space. As the day passed, they found a quiet observation deck overlooking the stars. Taran leaned against the railing, glancing at Alina. "You know," he said softly, "I didn't realize how much I missed this simple peace. Seeing stars without constant danger, being able to talk freely, it feels normal, in a good way." Alina nodded, her eyes reflecting the distant light. "I understand," she replied. "Out there, even small moments of calm feel impossible. Here, I can finally breathe." They sat together in comfortable silence, feeling a sense of connection that had grown steadily throughout their journey. For weeks, survival had forced them to rely on each other, and now, in the quiet safety of the colony, the emotional bond they had formed became clearer. Taran glanced at her, gathering courage. "Alina, I want to be honest. I feel something more than friendship. Something I haven't felt before, and I think you feel it too." Alina turned to him, her expression softening. "I do," she admitted quietly. "I've felt it for a while. The trust, the way we've faced everything together. It's more than I expected. I wasn't sure I could feel this way again, but I do." A gentle smile spread between them, unspoken words replaced by understanding and warmth. In the safe embrace of the colony, away from danger, they allowed themselves to simply sit close, hands brushing, hearts beating in quiet harmony. It was a new step in their journey, one built not on survival but on trust, admiration, and budding affection. As night fell in the colony, the stars outside seemed brighter, almost as if reflecting the hope inside their hearts. They wandered to the small gardens once more, leaning on the railing together. The colony lights glimmered softly around them, and for the first time the void outside seemed less intimidating. "You make all of this better," Taran said softly. Alina rested her head lightly on his shoulder. "And you make it easier to face whatever comes next," she replied. In the hidden safety of the colony, they realized that their journey was no longer only about surviving the void. It was about building something lasting, a partnership rooted in courage, understanding, and shared experience. The bond they had formed among the stars had become stronger, and they knew that whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together. For the first time in weeks, they slept soundly, the vast emptiness of space temporarily forgotten, comforted by the knowledge that they had found trust, companionship, and a spark of something deeper in each other. The hidden colony faded behind them as Taran and Alina piloted the derelict ship into open space. The repairs they had made were holding strong, and the ship now moved with a quiet confidence that mirrored their own newfound trust. Both felt a sense of purpose not just in survival, but in the bond they had nurtured through weeks of trials. "Ready for the next adventure?" Alina asked, a small smile playing on her lips. Taran nodded, his eyes focused on the stars ahead. "Absolutely. I feel like we're just getting started." The derelict ship, once a vessel of uncertainty and danger, now carried them forward with hope. The vast expanse of the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, filled with uncharted star systems and possibilities waiting to be discovered. Neither knew exactly what lay ahead, but the knowledge that they were together made the unknown feel less intimidating. They spent hours navigating through nebulae, adjusting trajectories to avoid debris, and testing the ship's systems. Each challenge reminded them how far they had come, not just as individuals but as a team. Their actions were seamless, a reflection of the trust that had grown between them. Every glance, every gesture carried subtle but undeniable understanding and care. During a brief pause in the observation deck, Taran looked at Alina. "I can't believe how much has changed," he said softly. "Just a few weeks ago I was alone, and now I feel like I've found a partner, someone I can count on for everything." Alina's gaze softened, her fingers brushing against his. "I feel the same," she replied. "It's strange, isn't it? Out here in the middle of nowhere, I never expected to feel this close to someone. But I do. With you." The warmth of their connection filled the small space around them, a comfort stronger than any shield or system they had repaired. In the vast, silent galaxy, They had discovered that human courage and companionship could shine brighter than the stars themselves. As they journeyed further, they encountered a small cluster of planets untouched by human settlement. Their curiosity and sense of adventure took over, and together they decided to explore, taking samples, mapping terrain, and learning what secrets the worlds held. Every discovery brought them closer, every shared observation strengthening the bond between them. On one quiet evening, as the ship drifted near a glowing nebula, Taryn and Alina stood side by side on the observation deck. The colors of gas and light stretched across space like a painting. For a moment, neither spoke. They simply watched, letting the beauty of the universe fill them with awe. "You know," Alina said finally, breaking the silence, "we've faced so much together. And yet, it feels like this is just the beginning." Taryn smiled, taking her hand in his. "It is. And whatever comes next, I want to face it with you. Together." Their hands intertwined, a silent promise that they would support and protect each other no matter what challenges awaited. The galaxy might be vast and unpredictable, but their partnership was a certainty, a beacon of strength in the endless dark. Days turned into weeks as they traveled through new systems, encountering minor challenges, but nothing they could not handle together. They repaired small satellites, assisted stranded crews, and explored untouched worlds. Every success, every shared experience, deepened their respect and admiration for one another. In the quiet moments between adventures, they shared laughter, quiet conversations, and small acts of kindness that spoke louder than words. The bond that had begun with trust and survival had blossomed into genuine love and partnership. Neither needed to speak of it constantly. It was simply understood, a steady force guiding them through the stars. As the ship glided past a distant nebula, Taryn and Alina stood together one last time on the observation deck. The lights of space shimmered around them, reflecting in their eyes and hearts. They looked forward toward unknown horizons, but they did not feel fear. They felt anticipation, excitement, and a quiet certainty that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. "Here's to the journey ahead," Taryn said, squeezing her hand gently. Alina smiled, leaning slightly on him. "And to everything we'll discover, together." With the stars stretching endlessly before them, the derelict ship became more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of human courage, resilience, and the power of connection. Taryn and Alina had found more than survival in the void. They had found each other, a bond that could endure any distance, any danger, and any challenge the universe might throw at them. And so, they continued forward, hearts aligned, hands clasped, ready to explore the infinite possibilities of space, knowing that together, they could face the void and make it theirs. In the distant reaches of space, humanity had spread to the stars. On a remote mining station orbiting a small dying star, a young engineer named Taryn worked tirelessly to maintain life support systems. One day, a mysterious distress signal appeared from a nearby derelict ship. Investigating it, Taryn met Alina, a pilot with a quiet strength and an air of mystery. Despite their initial distrust, circumstances forced them to cooperate to survive the drifting, malfunctioning vessel. A subtle spark of connection formed as they shared stories of life on their respective worlds. As Taryn and Alina tried to repair the derelict ship, they faced sudden power failures and asteroid debris storms. Alone in the vastness of space, they relied on each other for both survival and hope. Taryn admired Alina's calm under pressure, while Alina noticed Taryn's ingenuity and determination. They laughed and joked to keep spirits high, creating a fragile bond amid danger. The void around them was silent and cold, yet their companionship warmed the airlocked corridors. During a tense moment repairing the engine core, Alina revealed her past. She had been a courier for an interstellar research group and had uncovered a secret experiment gone wrong, which explained the derelict ship's plight. Taryn, inspired by her honesty, shared his own story of leaving a homeworld torn by war to seek a life among the stars. Their shared vulnerability deepened their connection. Slowly, admiration grew into a tentative affection neither fully admitted yet. An unexpected solar flare trapped them in a damaged observation module. With oxygen levels dropping, they had no choice but to rely completely on each other. Working together to repair the life support, their hands brushed repeatedly, and small smiles and quiet reassurances bridged the growing emotional distance. For the first time, They admitted that beyond survival, they felt something stronger for one another. The realization brought both fear and joy. Love could blossom even in the cold void of space. Once the ship was partially functional, they realized the derelict vessel contained valuable research data that powerful factions wanted. They became targets of space pirates and rival corporations. Taryn and Alina had to navigate through asteroid fields and evade attacks while keeping the ship's systems barely operational. During these tense escapes, they saved each other repeatedly, each act of bravery reinforcing trust and loyalty. Their bond grew unspoken, expressed in shared glances and quiet gestures amid the chaos of survival. After weeks of trials, they reached a hidden space colony, safe from pursuers. For the first time, Taryn and Alina could rest, repair the ship, and process their experiences. In the calm of the colony's gardens and observation decks, they confessed their feelings fully. Love, once subtle and uncertain, now became the anchor in their lives. Both realized that the vastness of space was no obstacle to connection. If anything, it made the bond stronger. Their shared triumph over adversity created a foundation of mutual respect and admiration. With the derelict ship repaired and the stolen research data secured, Taryn and Alina embarked on a new mission together. They chose to explore unknown star systems not as mere survivors but as partners in life and adventure. The story ends with them gazing at a distant nebula, hands intertwined, hearts aligned. Humanity's resilience and courage shone in their union, proving that even in the endless void, connection, trust, and love could thrive.